Gentlemen, welcome back to the Tiege Hanley Starting a Business, Building a Brand vlog. This one, the final vlog for 2016. Big number 59. And today we are talking about making it rain. In theory, that was better than it actually. We're talking about money. So I'm excited for this vlog because last vlog, talking about some negativity and answering I realized something. And I'm not giving the haters any more attention on this vlog. Not today, that is for sure. Because it's useless. There's always going to be, I've said this once, I've said it 1,000 times. You could be teaching blind kittens to read and somebody would find something to have an issue with. And the haters, the people that are just looking for something to pick at Tiege Hanley about, later you're not getting any more attention. I'll even leave your damn comment up because I don't care. Whatever. I would like to just say and start by reading an amazing comment before we get into the topic of Kashish. This comment's by I Ate the Soap. That's the username, which I think that's a really funny username. Good job on that. Also, great job on the comment. He says, just subscribe to your products and have to say your website is so simple and such a relief. I thought it was going to be a pain in the ass pausing my subscription as it usually is in websites. But it was so easy and straightforward. And I can tell if you continue for this, the people, product, and system, anyway, this company will slowly grow huge. Slowly grow huge. Screw that, man. That's why we're talking about money today. But I would like to say thank you, I Ate the Soap. That was something that we were so focused on. We knew that before we actually made the modifications to the website, it was cumbersome. It was not user-friendly. The interface was not intuitive. Now, we have really crushed it in terms of the user experience, the simplicity, really allowing people to customize exactly when they want the Tiege Hanley system. So if you guys are on pause or you haven't tried Tiege, go check it out. Look into the dashboard and see. You got to be running low on some of your stuff. And 2017 coming up is going to be your most handsome year to date, as long as you stick with the boys at Tiege Hanley. And so now let's start talking a bit about the future. 2017, the growth of Tiege Hanley and your potential business. Because at the end of the day, this vlog is all about business lessons. And one of the things that we at Tiege Hanley are starting to sort of think about is what's going to happen in terms of the growth and how much can we grow on our own before we actually have to raise money. So here's how this whole thing works. When you start a business, you're going to start it with X number of dollars. With us, Kelley was sort of the seed funding. You hear that term thrown out, on Shark Tank. That is a great show. If you're an entrepreneur and you are into business or want to start a business or have, just ideas that you're thinking about trying to bring to market, Shark Tank, great show. Well, one thing you hear when they start talking to these businesses is that they've raised money, and they'll usually say something like, yeah, we raised $2 million in seed funding. Seed funding in investment terms and business terms is just the money that it took to basically get off the ground. And for us, Kelley was the money behind funding us in that beginning, that initial stage. He put in money and we grew to where we are right now. But what happens throughout the process of your business, a lot of times then you have to look at raising additional funds in order to grow bigger, massive. In the vlog with the chemist, we really quickly touched on the idea of a lifestyle business. Pete and Pedro, my hair care company, is a lifestyle business. It does well. There is a nice amount of profit in there for one person, but for 10 people, that would be, it's like, it's not that great. But for me, it works. It's a great business. It is a lot of fun, and it is cash flow positive. And I never really have visions or delusions of growing that business to a 10, 20, $50 million company. I don't know how big I can get it. In order to grow it, it would need to totally change what it is. And what it is right now is a product that a YouTuber sells. Yes, I sell a bunch on Amazon. I sell a bunch in other, places like the Grooming Lounge. But at the end of the day, it takes me to sell it. Tiege Hanley, on the other hand, I really feel in my heart, and when I started this with Rob, Kelley, and the Chemist, that it really could be something really big, because it is something different. I think it is, everything about it is different and right for that sort of big home run of a hit in terms of business. The big player that everybody's heard about is Dollar Shave Club, where Dollar Shave Club started with X number of dollars, and then they had seed funding to get it to here, and then they just kept having to raise money. By the time they sold to Unilever for $1 billion. They still weren't profitable. They had over 2 million subscribers, and that's essentially what Unilever bought. They bought their customer base so that they could then figure out other ways to sell those customers other products. By the time they sold, and I'm probably going to get the numbers totally wrong, they raised Series A, Series B, Series C, and even went as far as Series D funding. And what that basically means, in my mind, is after seed, you've got Series A. Okay, we need to raise $2 million to grow it a little bit more, to spend on advertising. And with Dollar Shave Club, that's all they really did. Was they didn't really upgrade their website. Their website was the same from day one to day they sold 5 years later for $1 billion on the front end. It looked essentially the same. So they raised money in order just to acquire customers. And so they started spending a lot on advertising. Dollar Shave Club is very similar to Tiege Hanley in the sense that it is a cash pig. It takes lots of this to run because of inventory. Even though Tiege Hanley is profitable, even though we have great margins, it takes a lot of money, and you have to tie up a ton of cash in inventory because of the turnaround it takes in order to get new product, the packaging made, the package shipped over here to the US, then you've got all of the ingredients and making it and storing it, and it's just a pig in terms of cash requirements. And so Dollar Shave Club, same thing. They need to order, boom, huge amounts of razors and blades and all that good stuff. And because it's a subscription model and people keep getting it month after month, as you grow your customer base, your inventory requirements grow as well. And so projections, like we talked about, is difficult to do, but it's it requires a lot of cash. So Dollar Shave Club raised money. Then they're like, okay, we need to raise more money. So they raised another Series B funding where they raise more money, and they have investors. And a lot of times these investors are private equity firms that are, rolling in money. But here's the deal. Each time you raise money, you get diluted. You've heard that term a lot, dilution. Right now, the people that own 100% of Tiege Hanley are me, Rob, Kelley, and our chemist. We own 100%. But if we were to try and raise, say, $1 million, and I'm just using easy numbers for easy math, right? Okay, I got to back up again. So when you actually go to get funding and to raise money, you need to basically get a valuation. And the way that they value your company is there are a lot of different models. But with people like Dollar Shave Club and these subscriptions, essentially what they'll do is they'll say, okay, this is what you did this year. And because it's reoccurring, we're going to give you 3 times or 4 times your annual gross revenue. And so that's how you sort of value. So just for easy numbers, say you do $1 million in reoccurring revenue, and they multiply that by, say, 3. Now your company is worth $3 million. If you're going to raise $1 million from somebody, how much of that do you need to pretty much give up? A third. So if they invest $1 million and your company is worth $3 million, they're going to expect a third. They're going to expect a third equity in that company. So here's $1 million. Give me a third of your business. But what happens? The other people, me, Rob, Kelley, the other 100% now is we lose a third of our value. So if you own 30%, you're losing essentially a third. So you still, it gets a little bit confusing, but that is why it is so important to wait as long as you can in order to, before you actually get funding. Because, if we right out of the gate, tried to raise money and not actually bootstrap it and was like, oh, we want, raise $1 million. All right, well, your company's worth nothing. We're going to own, 90% of it. And all of a sudden you own now, a percentage of that 10%. And so it's really important for us to sort of grow as fast as we can, bootstrapping it with our own money, with our own sort of team, before we actually try and raise money to really grow it and ramp it up. Anyway, by the time the guy from Dollar Shave Club sold his business, I believe he owned 7% of it, because he raised money after money after money after money, and his ownership shrunk down to around 7%. Now, $1 billion, he still walked with 70 million. You're thinking to yourself, well, why the hell would you want to do that? Why not just grow it very slowly as you can, put money in here, money in there? And the reason that you would actually raise money as opposed to just trying to grow it super slow and cash in, cash out, inventory, all that good stuff, is because you know that it can be bigger, and you would rather have 10% of a watermelon than 100% of a grape. That's the analogy that everybody uses. And so, okay, yeah, you own, 100% of your company still, but it's only doing $1 million. Now you own 20%, but it's doing $50 million. Even though you own less of it, you have more value and it's worth more. So, did I lose you? I probably totally lost you. I've lost myself. But these are the conversations that we're having at Tiege Hanley, sort of what direction we want the business to go. And it's something that I struggle with, because I don't run in those circles. I don't understand sort of the ins and outs of raising money and having investors and all that. I've done everything pretty much myself in my whole life. And so this is a different world. But I really do feel that Tiege Hanley can be one of those home run hits. And, there are some things that we're going to have to consider if that is actually going to happen in a reasonable amount of time. In terms of reasonable, what's reasonable? Who knows? 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, I have no idea. But what I do know is that for the next year, 2017, we're going to continue to bootstrap it and try and just bust our ass and grow it as much as we can so that our company becomes more valuable. So if at the end of year 2 or 2017, we're in a position where we want to raise money, now we don't have to give up as much. Now, we might get to the end of 17 and be like, yo, things are really looking pretty good. Let's keep going. Let's keep trying to do it ourselves and just kick some more ass without the help of additional capital. But I mean, for us, we already have lines of credit with credit cards along with a bank that we use, because we always need access to cash. And those lines of cash are cheaper. You don't have to give up equity. It's just interest. And so that's great. So if you can get those, that's fantastic. But the downside is that when you're talking about big numbers, big money, it's tough. You really still, 25,000, 50,000, 100,000. Yes, you can get lines of credit with banks and credit cards, but $1 million, $2 million. And the reason you would potentially want to raise big money is not only for customer acquisition and for having deeper pockets for advertising, but also to hire good people to help take you to the next level. That's the other thing. You can hire a $10 an hour person, but you're going to get $10 an hour talent. If you want A-level, B-level talent that are going to be able to say, oh no, these are the opportunities and this is how we're going to get there as a team, you need to spend on them. And so, that's sort of, the technology world. These companies are doing a lot of crazy things in order to get the talent to actually come on board. Some is financial, some is incentives, some are cars. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff. And so right now we don't have the resources and the liquid cash on hand to hire. We've got cash on hand, but to feel comfortable hiring somebody that's making $100,000, $200,000 a year, $150,000, $75,000. We're not there yet. And so, you know, there's a big difference in a $50,000 a year employee and a $100,000 a year employee. And so all these things are things that we're thinking about and trying to sort of plan for. But I know that 2017, the plan is pretty much solidified. The goals are set down, and we're going to do everything we can to make it happen. I've talked a lot today, but I would like to know if you guys have any questions in terms of capital raising. I am in no means an expert, and there's probably somebody out there that knows a lot more about it than I, that are just ready to slam their head in a door because I've totally butchered everything. But if you have questions about money and raising money and sort of that whole scenario, because if you're a business and you're looking to really grow, you need money a lot of times. And I would be happy to try and field some of those questions. Remember, this is a business vlog. Guys, thank you so much. 2016 was the birth of Tiege Hanley. 2016 was an amazing year. Our little guy is growing up, and we really think that it's going to grow up into something really big and strong. But there is no way that we could have done it without you. You have been the most integral part of Tiege Hanley that there is. And this vlog is incredible. Thank you so much for engaging. Any questions you have about the product or Tiege Hanley or business in general, down in the comments. If you haven't tried Tiege Hanley yet, what the heck are you waiting for? It's only the most amazing skincare company on the market, in the world. I will even go as far as to say the universe, period. Gentlemen, have an amazing 2017. Be safe. 16 New Year, because it's amateur hour. Guys, take an Uber, don't drive, stay somewhere, be safe so that we can have an amazing 17 together.